Well, hello YouTubers and RVers, and welcome to another RV Toolbox Tips. This will be Toolbox Tip number 5, now to be quite honest with you. Yeah, it's something that goes in your toolbox, but it's not necessarily a tool. Maybe you'll call it an attachment, or you'll call it an adapter or something like that. We have several of these things to talk about here today. It's a little bit windy. I hope the wind's not messing up things too much. But I'm going to talk today about hooking up your water to the water supply at your campsite. Let me explain. All right, we all know we have these water hookups here at the campsite. Well, there are a lot of neat things that need to be in your toolbox or in your box or something like that that you're going to use to make things go better or smoother or whatever, okay? And here they are. We've got, this is a device for lowering the pressure. It's a pressure regulator. This one's by Campco, not very expensive, and a lot of people swear by them. You can also get them that look like this, much more durable. Okay, this is a pressure reducer too. Heavy duty brass. This one's gonna last a long time. Then we've got this thing right here. This is a splitter, Wye, or whatever you want to call it, that allows you to have 2 outputs of your water, all right? And then right here we have, well, this is to connect your filter to the water, because you're going to want to have, you know, filtered water. You have these things, all right? Now then, all right, this and this, you're going to love this, all right? But we're going to get to that later. And by the way, if you love the stuff we do here, be sure and send your video to your friends. Share it, please. That helps us so much, and your friends might like it. Maybe they'll get some use out of this too, all right? So here we go. The first thing, of course, that you can hook up, well, you can do this stuff in almost any order, all right? But I like to use this thing. This is the splitter. We take that, we put it on, all right? Now, before I do anything, of course, I'll run that a little bit, make sure there's no wasp nest or anything like that in there. And then I'll put this guy on right here. Okay. The next thing we do is, for me, is always going to be to hook up the water to it. And that's going to be our water hose. Now, people have different opinions on where you put the water filter. It's very common for people to put the water filter, say here or here, wherever you want. You'll use one of these adapters on it, that sort of thing. A lot of people hang it right there. Others actually hang it off of the input there on your RV. Whatever works best for you. I personally don't think it matters at all. The water's going to go the same direction through it, no matter how you do it. It only goes through it one way, okay? So it's not going to matter if it's upside down, right side up. The water's still going to go the right way. The filters are in stages. They're still going to go through the same stages, the same way, no matter where you put it. I'm going to let you decide. If you have an opinion or where you think this needs to be, either say at the faucet or at the RV, put a comment down below, all right? I'd like to hear your opinion and why you have it. We can all learn from it, all right? But what I'll do now is I'll hook up this. Okay, I should point out that this might not have been the perfect place to demonstrate using the water pressure reducer. There is a water tower, a real tall water tower just right down the road here, and it looks like the park has already put water reducers on all the faucets here, which is great. So that's good. That these things should be screwed in, so you can't get them off. Please don't steal these. But they already have reducers on here. There's probably a good reason for it. Like I said, there is a water tower just behind the trees, and it's a pretty tall one. So I'll bet you there's pretty good size pressure on there, maybe 60 PSI or more, easily. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now comes the fun part, all right? You have this, which is going to your RV. If you have a little bit more expensive RV than we have, maybe a Winnebago or some of the others, they will have an outside spigot on the side of the RV that lets you hook a hose to, all right? And then let you have an outside sprayer, which you can use for lots of things. If you have a fishing pole that got a bunch of salt water in it because you dropped it in the water, something like that, you're going to want to rinse that reel off. Or you're coming back from the beach, you can wash your feet off, okay? Heck, you can, even if you're coming back from the beach, hose yourself off. Or whatever you need washed off out at the outside water connection. Check this out. How handy would that be to have outside? I'll tell you, it's very handy. You can wash off things there, wash off shoes, wash off stuff. One time, I don't know, my wife was washing dishes or something like that. I just went outside and used this to brush my teeth. You don't have to, but it was sure handy that day. Anyway, there you go. Now, like I said, if you have a more expensive RV, you might have a outdoor spigot, all right. If not, you can spend $10 and maybe a little bit more. I think I paid $6 for this thing and maybe $6 for this thing. I already had this, so there you go. So you have all kinds of, well, what didn't I do though? Did you notice? All right. What I didn't do was put one of these pressure reducers on. Now, where do I put that? Should I put it here and so that the pressure is reduced even going to this line? Well, I can. There are people who will argue that you should put the pressure reducer on and then the water filter on and then the hose. Why? Because they think, well, what if some dirt somehow got in the end of this hose? Don't you want it filtered out as well? Yeah, that's a good thing to do. But I store my hose by connecting them both together before I roll it up and put it up. So all these things are things that you can have in your toolbox, that one of them gives you something pretty cool, if you ask me, and that is an outside sprayer hose. Is that not neat for very little money? And if you don't have that already on your RV, you're gonna love having this, okay? So that's it for today. We've got pressure reducer, little adapters, a hose. This is a 6-foot hose. It's not very long. You can get them any length you want. And a little sprayer like this, it costs like maybe $6-7 at Lowe's. So, hey, like I said, if you have an opinion on where you should put the pressure reducer or the filter, put it down there. Now, I've had people say something like, well, you don't really have to use a pressure reducer. You can just turn the valve down. Yes, that reduces, if you just constrict the water line, that reduces the amount of dynamic pressure, the pressure coming out the hose and the flow and everything as far as what's coming out the hose or going into your RV. But it doesn't do anything to the static pressure. If it's 70 PSI on one side of this thing or one side of this, and you just reduce it like that, eventually it's going to go through and it's going to pressurize the whole system to that 70 PSI until you open a faucet, and then it's going to drop down dramatically. Now, reducing the faucet here will help reduce the water hammer effect, but it will not change your static pressure. Once the pressure, even though no matter how small you've made this orifice here, that pressure will go on through, and whatever it is on the back side here, it will be the same. And if your RV won't take 70 PSI, let's say, and you pull up at a site that's got over 70 PSI, which does happen, okay? If the water tower is on a hill above the campsite and the water is already pretty good pressure, the elevation there is going to add to it. I've seen, as a firefighter for 32 years, I've seen fire hydrants that have 60, 70, 90 PSI on them, okay? And so it does happen, all right? So if you just do it this way, remember, that doesn't change the static pressure. All right, now I'm sure some of you are going to argue about that. Go ahead, I'd love to hear it. But anyway, there you go. And let's have a good day, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. They're going to want to weigh in and tell me I'm wrong too. All right? All right. Have a good day. Remember, I'm not an expert, but I know a lot of stuff.